Ever watch Shark Tank and think, okay, cool idea, but what can I actually use from this? Like, how do I apply these strategies to my own business or even just my life?
Yeah.
Well, that's what today's deep dive is all about. We're going behind the scenes of Shark Tank Season 15, Episode 3.
Okay.
But we're not just here for the entertainment.
Right.
We're digging deep to uncover the real business wisdom hidden within these pitches.
And that's where Shark Savvy comes in.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
So this book, it's not just like a recap of the episode. It's more like having a secret decoder ring for understanding the strategies these entrepreneurs are using.
Okay.
And the best part is you don't have to be pitching a product on TV to use them.
Right. It's easy to dismiss Shark Tank as just entertainment. But I have a feeling this book reveals some surprisingly deep stuff about what makes a business work,
Oh, absolutely.
no matter what you're selling.
It really challenges your assumptions about business.
How so?
Well, take the company Bought It, for example.
Okay.
Now, their technology is fascinating, don't get me wrong. But what really struck me was their approach to competition.
Or rather, their lack of it. Right.
Exactly.
I mean, turning competitors into collaborators. That's brilliant.
It's a perfect example of what the book calls the coopetition catalyst.
Coopetition catalyst. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, it's this idea that we often think of business as a zero-sum game.
Right. If someone else wins, you lose.
Exactly. But Bought It, they flipped the script.
How so?
They realized that by partnering with some of their rivals, they could actually expand the market for everyone.
It's like that saying, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Precisely. It's about shifting your mindset from how do I beat them to how can we both succeed?
Now, that is a game changer. Where else in life do you think that could apply?
Ooh, that's a good question.
But, okay, tell me more about this simplicity spectrum idea.
Right.
This is where the Beef Wellington Company comes in, right?
You got it.
I have to admit, when I first read about a pre-made Beef Wellington Company on Shark Tank,
I was a little skeptical.
I don't blame you.
Heck, really? Beef Wellington?
Right. But that's the beauty of it. They fully embraced their niche.
Okay.
They knew they made an incredible Beef Wellington,
Right.
and that's what they focused on. They weren't trying to be experts in, like, every single aspect of the food industry. And the Sharks, they respected that. They outsourced everything but the actual Wellingtons, didn't they?
Exactly. They found partners they trusted to handle everything else.
Interesting.
And that's what the simplicity spectrum is all about. It's this idea that sometimes stripping your business down to its core, to what you're truly great at, is the key to scaling up.
So instead of trying to be a jack of all trades, you become a master of one.
Exactly.
I like that. That's actually really freeing when you think
Yeah,
about it,
yeah.
because we put so much pressure on ourselves to be good at everything.
Yeah.
But what if the real genius is in identifying your one thing and really owning it?
Absolutely. It's about understanding your strengths and, even more importantly, being comfortable with your limitations. That's a powerful concept, wouldn't you say?
It really is.
Yeah.
And you know what? That actually reminds me of another story from Shark Savvy. And it's not just about, like, simplifying your business model, is it? This next story from Shark Savvy, this baseball glove company, it really blew my mind.
Oh, yeah. Talk about challenging conventions.
Right. Who would have thought that a kid would be the one to revolutionize, like, the baseball glove?
And that's the prodigy paradigm at play. See, the book, it argues that we often discount ideas simply because they come from unexpected places.
Yeah.
This kid, I mean, he didn't have years of industry experience telling him, no, you can't do that. He just saw a problem and went for it.
It's like that quote, how does it go? Something like, the best way to predict the future is to invent it.
Right.
He wasn't limited by, like, what everyone else thought was possible. Makes you think, are we missing out on these groundbreaking ideas just because we're not looking in the right places? Like, who are we ignoring?
That's a really good point. We get so caught up in our own little bubbles and our own expertise that we forget to tap into those fresh perspectives.
Totally.
And those fresh perspectives, sometimes those can be the most valuable.
100%. And speaking of fresh perspectives, Shark Savvy also talks about the power of emotion.
Oh, yeah.
Which brings us to the dating advice company featured in this episode.
Right, right. This is a good one.
Okay, so tell me about this one.
This story, I think it really highlights the importance of what the book calls the emotional USP. So it's the unique selling proposition, but it goes beyond just the features and benefits of what you're selling.
Okay, so it's more about connecting with your audience, but on a deeper level.
Yes,
like
exactly.
appealing to their emotions.
Exactly. And that's exactly what this founder did. They weren't like, peddling these gimmicks or quick fixes. They really understood the complexities of dating, the
Yeah.
hopes, the fears, the vulnerabilities, all of it.
Yeah, it can be tough to put yourself out there.
Right. And, by acknowledging and speaking to those emotions, this company, they created a level of trust and connection that, honestly, it set them apart in a really crowded market. Think about a brand that you truly love, like you're really loyal to this brand.
Okay, I'm thinking of one now.
Okay, good. Now ask yourself, is it just their products that you love, or is there something more, a deeper reason?
Interesting.
Do they make you feel seen, understood, maybe even empowered? See, that's the emotional USP in action.
Wow, when you put it that way, it's so clear. It's like we make decisions based on emotion all the time, even when we think we're being totally rational.
That's right. We're emotional creatures at our core.
Totally.
And the most successful businesses, they understand that. They're not just selling products or services. They're selling feelings, experiences,
Well,
a connection.
It's about tapping into that human element. Yeah, it's like we know these things deep down, but to see them play out
More.
on Shark Tank
Yeah.
and to have them laid out so clearly in Shark Savvy, it's eye-opening.
It really makes you think about how you're approaching your own business,
Absolutely.
Like, are you just going through the motions,
Right.
or are you really being intentional?
And speaking of intentional, there's this one concept from the book that really stuck with me. Self-awareness.
Oh, yeah.
Big one.
That's huge.
It seems so simple,
Right.
but it's so crucial.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's something that comes up again and again in Shark Savvy.
And all these different stories.
Yeah, and all these different contexts.
How so?
Because at the end of the day, the entrepreneurs who really thrive, whether they're on Shark Tank or just navigating the real world, they're the ones who are brutally honest with themselves,
Hello.
about their strengths, their weaknesses, their blind spots, all of it.
So it's not just about knowing what you're good at.
No.
It's also about acknowledging what you're not good at.
Exactly.
And then what?
Yeah.
What do you do with that information?
Well, that's where the real magic happens. Because once you know your weaknesses, once you're self-aware, you can start to build a team, a strategy, a whole company culture that compensates for those gaps.
It's like that Wellington company. They knew their strength was in creating a fantastic product.
The Wellington itself.
Exactly. But they weren't afraid to outsource everything else, and that took guts.
They did.
Because they could have tried to figure it all out on their own, but they realized it was smarter to focus on their zone of genius and bring in experts for the rest.
And that brings us right back to self-awareness, doesn't it?
How so?
Because that decision to outsource, to focus on their strengths, that came from a place of really understanding their own limitations. And honestly, I think that level of self-awareness, it's not just good for business.
What else?
It's good for life.
It makes you wonder, if we all embrace that level of honesty, how much more could we achieve, both individually and collectively?
It's a powerful thought.
It really is. So for our listeners out there, maybe they aren't pitching on Shark Tank,
Right.
but they still want to apply these secrets to success. What's that one thing they can do? Like today.
It all goes back to self-reflection.
Okay.
Take some time to really think about what you're truly great at. Where do your passions lie?
Okay.
And just as important, if not more so, what are you not good at? And who can you bring in to help you fill those gaps? It's about building a business and a life that plays to your strengths.
I love that. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about being successful, is it? It's about finding fulfillment, finding joy in what you do.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive. It's been a pleasure exploring these Shark Tank secrets to success with you.
Likewise. Always fun to chat about this stuff.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep diving deep.